Hi there. Good evening. So the time has come to do our final presentations for communications class. Um, and if the technology will allow, I'm going to go ahead and bring up my slideshow and start right in on it. Okay. Hopefully you're able to see my screen. And we're off. Okay, so as you can see from my first page, I'll be doing a presentation on Papa John's pizza chain. Um, so the first question I ask is why is it that I chose Papa John's? I'm choosing Papa John's because I work there. I work within the franchise of the Oni Bayshore, um, which is pretty much every Papa John's in the Clearwater, Largo, and Tampa area. There are 26 stores in total. I'm a driver for the Clearwater location, and I've been with the company for almost 2.5 years. So I have a pretty good idea about the internal operations. I have management training. I don't currently run shifts there, but I have a pretty good idea about the ins and outs. So, what opportunity do I think exists, and why is it that I chose to go with this company? Um, in Papa John's, every employee, at least within our franchise, I don't know, I've never worked outside of our franchise, but at least within our franchise, every employee needs to learn how to do everything within the store. And this is sold as an attempt for maximum flexibility. So that when things are at their busiest, or even when things are dead, every employee is able to do everything. Every employee is able to fill in if there's a gap. If we have somebody who works on the inside of the store call out, we're able to fill that with a driver because it's the exact same job, except for drivers obviously clock out and take runs to customers. In the current system, I believe that labor is suboptimal. Um, that's kind of relative because labor is obviously always suboptimal because you can make things better. But I think that right now we have nothing in the way of improving our bottleneck positions as far as in store operations. We have no way of pushing people who have higher skill levels to the more skill intensive positions when the shift is at its busiest. So the opportunity that I see and the opportunity exists to take advantage of employee task flexibility and basically put employees who have a larger skill gap on activities that are going to take more skilled employees. So here's a list of the jobs that you can do in store that don't involve a manager's password. And I have them listed here in what is approximated as their descending order of skill required. They are dough slapper, which is what the pictures of a guy throwing dough in the air, and that's what you think of every time somebody's kind of making a pizza as the skill position. Pizza topper, which is somebody who puts the toppings on the pizza, obviously. A cheeser, which sounds like exactly what it is. Oven tender, which is the person who's actually cutting and putting the boxes or the pizzas in the boxes. Till operator, who's taking money on inside orders. Order taker, again, which is exactly what it sounds like. And then folding boxes. There are obviously other little ins and outs, people who clean, but these are the general activities within the store that you would see while we're busy. So where does the problem that I'm describing come from? Um, and I believe it's that employees tend to settle in when things get hectic. When things get busy and drivers are filtering in and out, pretty much employees that are less experienced with the stress kind of grab a job and they put their head down. And the drivers who are coming in and out, or the managers who may have been dealing with customer complaints on the phone, they kind of just fill in wherever needs to be filled in. They don't fill in where they fit best. So, for instance, a employee that's been with the store for 2 months maybe is on our food line and is topping pizzas, and a manager who has a lot larger skill gap gets off the phone with a customer, and rather than going to the line where he could be more useful, he jumps on the oven, which is a job that pretty much anybody could do, especially if they've been there for 2 months. But we're losing efficiency by not having a system in place where the manager can just calmly say to the person who's on the line, hey, will you switch with me? Because everybody has a general sense that the manager has those skills. And I don't think that this problem is something that is inherent throughout the shift, but when we're at our busiest, when we have 20 orders in the store and we're just trying to get them out as fast as possible, I think that's when we're losing our opportunity to optimization. So I have written here, when things are at their busiest, employees react in lieu of thinking. There's no thinking process. It's just, where can I fill in? Where can I help? And that's not bad. We get by, but I think that in an industry that prices are not soaring, but costs are going up, we have to look for ways to optimize labor. So what does it mean in a practical sense? And I kind of explained this already, that skilled employees perform tasks that could be completed at the same level by a less experienced team member. And then I have a picture of somebody working on an oven at Papa John's here. Again, like I said, that's a job that pretty much anybody could do, because all you're doing is running a cutter through pizza. It's easy enough. It doesn't require you to be extremely fast. And again, this is this issue that I'm talking about. So here is a base estimation of speed. Just take a quick second to kind of look over the two skill gaps that I've showed here, a 3-month team member and a 2-year team member. And again, these are just approximations, but if you look at them across the board, you'll see that relative to each other, the efficiency closes as we get to less skill intensive positions, such that a employee is a lot less, there's a lot less difference in efficiency at the top than there is at the bottom. Pretty much anybody can fold pizza boxes fast, because that's hand speed, that's not muscle memory or anything like that. And here are these numbers shown in a chart. The back level, the green level being experienced employees, the middle being medial experienced employees, and the white being new employees. Obviously, there are other considerations in skill, but here to simplify the example, I've assumed that skill runs along with length of employment. So what does this tell us? That as we move down what I like to call the scale totem, new employees become increasingly productive relative to experienced team members. And I think that language is really important here. They become increasingly productive relative to the experienced team members. They're not becoming more productive on the whole, but relative to what the experienced employees are doing, it gives them an opportunity to close the gap. So the general opportunity is that if we make skill level more apparent, something that we can talk about without it being offensive, hey, I'm better than you at this, but not because I'm just a better person, but because I've been here longer and I think I can fill in this way to help the company. And much of the opportunity to do this, I believe, is due to the fact that Papa John's employees are already tested on their speed and quality of their pizzas. That's a normal thing. Every month we do speed tests, and obviously very new employees don't do that test, but for the most part, we already post numbers about who can do dough the fastest, who can sauce the fastest, who can make a whole pizza the fastest. So we already have these numbers available, and if we were to take a little extra time or take extra pains to make them viable for this opportunity to optimize labor, I think that it's a lot easier than if you were to try and institute a whole new system. So what are the keys to success? I think that the biggest one is that this needs to be viewed as a system of improvement, where we're trying to help make everybody's job easier, not something where we're trying to judge or trying to penalize people who don't necessarily have the skill considerations that would be necessary to be at the top of our skill lists. But I think that it's important to remind new employees that, and to live by this, that every effort should be made during non-peak times where we don't necessarily need to optimize labor, to give new employees the opportunity to learn those skill positions so that they don't always feel like they're being stuck on phones or being stuck on the oven, which are jobs that are not necessarily so exciting and not necessarily as fun. So experienced team members during non-peak peak times should be on those easy, menial activities to make up for the fact that during rush, they're doing the more difficult tasks. And this gives everybody the opportunity to kind of catch up and to not feel like they're being subjugated to less interesting work. So what are the risks and what are the benefits? I have a lot listed here, but I think the most important on this list is that you'll see at the bottom of the benefits and the top of the risks. I did this on purpose, that the bottom of the benefits, healthy competition, a competition of numbers so that you're trying to get better for being better's sake. But destructive competition is a real risk that people will get their feelings hurt or that they will want to be better than other people just for the sake of saying so. There are other things in here that are definite concerns and definite opportunities. I think loss of morale is a real risk, that it's a fun thing to do to work at a pizza place, and that this has the opportunity, if it's perceived in the wrong light, or if the employees who are supposed to be leaders within the structure are not leading, I think loss of morale is a real opportunity or a real reality. But I think also that a real benefit is that there really could be less confusion, because in essence what I'm talking about here is establishing an order of operations, something so that when things get crazy, we allow that, that things can get crazy on the outside, but that there will be calm on the inside. So my final recommendation, I think that this is something that could be tried on a trial basis, like perhaps a whole quarter, so for 3 months of the year. But I think the first and most important provision, if it's to be instituted, other than the fact that it needs to be a trial period, is that all team members should be briefed on the reason for the change, because everybody should understand that this is an initiative in the positive sense, that things are already good and we're trying to make them better. And I think that all team members should be encouraged to be active participants in the program, that it's not a management initiative, but it's an initiative to make working a lot less of a headache and to make dealing with business a lot easier for us. So my recommendation is, let's do it. Here you see references from the images I've pulled and the statistics. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing now and kind of wrap this up. Oh, there I am. Anyway, hopefully I gave a pretty clear picture here. I would encourage any of you, if you are particularly interested in what I've said here, to email me or ask questions in the discussion board. I'm not really sure how this submission is going to work, but if it is something that interests you or something that you feel like you'd like clarification on, or something that you feel like I expound on, I would love to answer questions about it, because even this is an assignment, this is something that's near and dear to my heart. I work full time, so it's something that a reality that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. So I would be happy if anybody has any questions. If not, hopefully I did satisfy the questions that you had initially, and hopefully everything came across really clear. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody else's presentation, and this was a really good mod. I enjoyed this class a lot, and I look forward to possibly working with you all in the future. All right.